Clap. All right.
Are you ready?
I think I am ready.
So.
I am ready. I'm born ready. That's what you're supposed to always say. You're born ready, right?
Born ready. Ready to rock and roll. Well, we're back, and I am going to apologize because typically I'm more organized. I've got my stories ready and set to go. It's just kind of been a hectic week. So we're going to wing it, ladies and gentlemen, but that's okay.
It's been a hectic life.
We've done that before.
Life has been crazy.
Oh, and
every
that's
day.
true.
I can't even keep up with it anymore. I kind of let go. There's so much.
You have to.
Yeah, there's so much. I mean, with what's going on, with Iran and Mexico, it's like
Absolutely.
whatever. I got to go to the gym, man.
Oh, absolutely. I have to tell you, and if I don't think I talked about this last week, but I was listening. I was driving somewhere, and Glenn Beck was talking, and he talked about how you can just be so overwhelmed with so many things happening,
easy.
so many stories, especially political and news junkies like us.
Yeah.
We can't help it. We can't help it. But you have to get away from it, because he talked about a story how a long time ago, because he's been doing this business a long time, it actually got him physically ill, and he had to step away from it. And I'm giving you the very long story short, but essentially he came across a doctor who said, people don't believe this, and this is more than 10 years ago, but you're being poisoned, and it's because of all the information that you get fed, and your body just reacts to it after a while. And I believe that.
Yeah.
I really do.
No, it's really easy. I mean, the human eye is so powerful. What you take in with your eye, and then combine that with your mind and what you're thinking about constantly and stuff. You can really easily get distracted as a human being, and that's what the TV is all about. That's what our cell phone's all about. It's all just a bunch of, and then they're not even talking about the food yet. We're not even talking about the food.
That's right. And you're so good about that. You're a health guy.
Yeah, I had somebody recently tell me, like, hey man, you're pretty healthy and you're into like organic stuff. That's weird for a Republican. And I was like, yeah, I am. I was like, but I'm definitely not a Democrat or a liberal. So that's weird that people associate being healthy and like eating organic food with being a liberal, being a Democrat. I guess I kind of, back in the day, maybe, like 10, 15 years ago, when being a Democrat wasn't so bad. Joe Rogan was still a Democrat at that time.
That's one of a myth that we have to overcome, because in the end, we want clean water. We want good food.
We all do.
We want to raise our families in a good environment. And all of a sudden now the left is not saying anything about climate change.
Climate change.
Evaporated, so to speak, from the political world.
And who is it? I mean, I know RFK, he was on a podcast recently. He was on a Joe Rogan podcast. Oh, you guys, if you haven't checked it out, check it out.
Was he on with Rogan?
Oh my God.
Oh, he's rocking
he
at that.
Hammered it. But he basically said he can't be legally affiliated to any party or whatever. But my point was, I was going to say is, who on the Democrat side is that can mimic RFK's style? Who's so pro-health, pro-life? I mean, I don't think they have anyone championing health on that side at all. I can't think of anybody. You guys tell me. I don't know.
No, and he does so well. He presents very well. He knows his stuff. And the left is not doing this. And if you think about it, no matter what we can do politically, even if we were able to fix the world the way that Republicans want to fix it and get things correct, if we don't have a healthy population, if our kids, I feel like I was very lucky. I'm a boomer, and we grew up, we still ate dinner at home and had real food. Even if you went out to, which we never did, but if you went out to get fast food or anything, that still was probably pretty healthy back then in the 60s and 70s.
Back then, yeah. I'd eat a hamburger from the 80s all day. I mean, back then.
Yeah, so I applaud RFK.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord for him. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just so grounded in what's really going on. I mean, it just came out, too, with the Epstein files and Operation Artichoke. I don't know if you guys heard about that. But
Artichoke. What happened
did you
there?
hear that?
No.
So basically, it was a CIA operation that was tasked to emasculate men, lower our testosterone, to toxify our medical environment, toxify our food, because they want to dumb us down and take control of us. And they did it. They're doing it through our medical system. And is this just a surprise? This shouldn't be a surprise to many.
It's believable.
The hospitals are, I mean, I don't want to get sued or anything, but, the last place I want to go is a hospital. That's not a friendly place. That's not a place of healing that comes to mind, and then, with the food, it makes me sad that he's the only guy that's out there really thank God he's the HHS head, the secretary, but I want it to be more of a trend. If that's what's going to bring us together, the food and the organic eating and the healthy lifestyle and, calling out Operation Artichoke, then that's cool. We got to kind of get away from the, divisive politics kind of a little bit. I mean, I think it's important to declare who you are, know who you are, and to be proud of your values, but at the same time, kind of like, Mr. Duke Rodriguez was, he posted yesterday that, There's more independents now in New Mexico than any other party at this point, right? That's what I said.
Yeah, he had a really good post. We have it up on our Chips and Salsa Show Facebook site, New Mexico site, and he broke it all down. And I was talking earlier before the show. Now, New Mexico, this is the first year we're going to have an open primary. In Arizona, we did, which I'm like, I don't really like that because I think you should have to be a Republican or a Democrat. But it could be to our advantage because I really believe in New Mexico. A lot of people that I've met, they're not quite ready to become Republicans, but as long as they vote conservative, I'm cool with that.
No, and I'm right there with you as well. But I feel like stuff like that with the elections, everybody being able to vote. I think it's always some kind of ploy that the liberals are trying to use to
Yeah, the
take
fact that
advantage
it
of
actually
system.
passed our legislature, right?
Yeah,
kind
it
of.
went right through. You know what I mean? And then you got Heinrich right now, and who else? Who was this Heinrich recently saying that they wanted to stop the federal elections from being overseen, and they want to kind of stop federal voter ID. It was Heinrich and somebody else. But
Probably like Cervantes or somebody. I don't know.
the goal of these people, though, for them to publicly come out there and admit that they're against, federally enforced voter ID, I think it's just cockamamie. I can't believe it.
And when you think about our democratically dominated legislature here in New Mexico, they don't want to help ICE. I mean,
No.
they want to. It's so crazy. And to me, your primary responsibility, just like the State of the Union that President Trump talked about,
Badass.
is to watch out for your constituents, for your citizens.
Yeah.
But yet, they want to fight ICE. They're closing down some of the detention centers, right?
I think it's just super telling. I think the majority of their voting bloc is illegal immigrants, and it's been like that for decades. They actually there could be no other way for them to have that much goal and just emphatic force behind their voices when they speak up against voter ID, because they know and they're unashamed of that their voting bloc are illegals. They're like, they don't even see anything wrong with it. Like, oh, it's just whatever. We got to protect our illegal voters.
And they still haven't, if I had my wish list, one of the things too is you can, if you're an illegal person, I believe you can get a driver's license here, right?
Oh yeah,
In New
you get a
Mexico?
home loan, you get treated better than we do.
Why is that necessary? Who put that in there? It's been here for a long time. It's been that way, right?
Well, what's funny is I was just I was doing some banking, with one of the candidates, local candidates. You got to open your bank account when you get your, candidacy going. And they had a sign on the placard there, like, you have to show proof, you have to show a driver's license, a U.S. citizenship to open a bank there. So banks, if you're FDIC bank now, you have to show proof of U.S. citizenship to open a bank. And I was like, that's a pretty interesting plaque right there. I was like, that's probably affected you quite a bit, hasn't it? I won't say which bank it was. And she's like, oh yeah, that's affected us big time. And so,
So that's something fairly recent.
that was just yesterday. I was talking to them, but they just put it in recent. I think like a couple months ago.
Interesting.
So yeah, these banks were used to having these illegals come in without being proof of U.S. citizens, and they're getting home. Like I said, they're getting treated better than us, and that's what pisses off a lot of people.
It's true. It's true.
It
It
pisses
really
off
is
a lot
true.
of people, me included.
And it shouldn't be that way, but everything's coming out little by little. We started in Minnesota with the Somalian fraud and everything, and there was a New Mexico
I
story.
forgot about
too.
Somalia already.
Oh, but there's just too much. There's just too much. You can't keep it all in your brain. But it up pops California, and if you post something on Facebook, and especially you have mega friends, and I've got friends from other states, and they'll be like, well, here too, this happened here and this happened there.
Crazy. The fraud's everywhere.
And that's good, because I really believe in my heart, if we can really get it all out, we could, that $1 trillion that we keep going up every year on national debt, that's probably about the amount of fraud that we know of.
It's quite a bit. And it's not the total fraud. I had to correct myself. In the last podcast, I said that it was like $1 trillion in total debt, but it's not. It's like $100 billion a year in medical fraud, at least.
Fraud
that they can find right now, which is still significant. But what I was gonna say is that here in New Mexico, we are, like we're saying, we're used to illegals voting here. But things are turning around. There's a lot of momentum. The independents are getting registered, they're going to the independent party. I want to talk to you about that, Alice. What do you think? I think a lot of people are assuming that it's a lot of disenfranchised Democrats and it's a lot of disenfranchised Republicans that are going to the independents, but they both still vote party lines. I think that's a pretty good assumption.
I think it is pretty much. Just in my own experience, I've been back to New Mexico about 4 years now, going on 4 years in May. And so many people that I know did switch from their Democrat. They just couldn't be Democrat anymore. Right. So they chose to be an independent. Like I say, they weren't quite ready to be a Republican. However, I do know some Democrats, and they have recently become Republicans, and that's good. If we could just get our message across and show what the Republican Party is actually about and what we stand for. And all this last year, all with the Biden, if you think about it, all the Biden years, we have plenty of ammo to convince you. Now, if we can't convince you that you could become a Republican from a Democrat, okay, be an independent. That's fine. And it's safer, okay? It's really safer. That way you don't have to, somebody told me to. That way I don't have to tell my family I'm a Republican, I'm an independent. And it's a safety factor.
People are that embarrassed about it, huh? They're that ashamed of it, huh?
And it's crazy, huh?
Yeah, you know what? When I first turned Republican, I was really proud about it, but because I was actually really ignorant. I just kind of bold-faced, I'm a Republican now. I'm a Christian Republican. And like, I kind of ran into like, you know, some problems with that, with that mentality, you know, because like people really push back on you when you come out like that. I mean, seriously, the government does. So I don't blame. I guess I'm saying I don't blame people for being like kind of gun shy about being or declare Republican, because you will get some flack. But hey, think about the founding fathers. What they have to deal with when they founded this country. You know, standing up for freedom is not easy. So that's just the beginning of protecting your free speech. Declaring you're a Republican, that's basically your right as an American. If you do enjoy your rights, you should, as you know, as an American, be a Republican for the most part. I can't being a Democrat's anti-American.
And I want to ask you, because you're a millennial, and for a long time the younger people just really weren't attracting Republicans. But you know, now we have the NMSU Republicans. You know, Josh came and spoke with us at the CCIA meeting, and I think that they're coming around because they're seeing what life is actually all about. What, you know, poor things. They're younger, but they're going to have to figure it out. They need jobs. They want to raise families. They're a lot more believers now too. I mean, as a millennial, do you think more millennials are becoming conservative?
Well, the studies are out there. We've got a younger Republican here in the room with us right now.
Yes,
Actually,
we introduce them.
The studies are that the Gen Zers are very conservative. The men are very conservative. The Gen Zers are actually more conservative than most millennials, which is cool to see. You know, but
Gen Z's right after you.
Right after me, yeah, okay. Right after us. Okay. And then so the other side of that that's bad is that the women are getting more liberal. The women are going further left, and so that's why you're getting those huge discrepancies in, you know, less marriages, less people having kids. There's just this huge difference in ideology with the women and the men at that age demographic. But I think over time it'll balance out, because I think eventually, because women are smart, they're going to figure it out. They want to get married, they want to have kids, which most women have that type of inclination. They got to start voting Republican, or at least tolerate a Republican man, right?
Well, and they want a man. I mean, that's men and women. You know, men are the protectors, and we're the nurturers as women. And that's, sorry guys, but that's what it's all about. In the end, we do that.
Now you're going to tell us women make sandwiches too. That's the next thing you're going to say.
Well, some guys make better sandwiches than women. It could be. This last week, I saw. Have you seen the movie The War on Our Children?
No.
Okay, and I got to see it. I didn't get to finish the movie. We had to leave early, but the coalition was showing it.
Okay.
And I hope that every American gets to see it. It's basically about this young couple. The last name is Starbuck. It's very interesting. And they discover that their kids are being indoctrinated, which we know that's happening in the public schools.
That's so common.
It's awful.
Awful.
And they do such a good job. They talk to everybody. They talk to a drag queen, predator, teachers that have been fired, a woman that her kid was trans without her knowledge really at school takes away. I'm not going to give all the spoiler alerts because I want you to try to watch the movie. But it's such a good documentary about what has happened in our schools. And it started a long time ago, even when I was in high school. When I look back, I can see some little signs and everything. Yeah. And it's just so important, because if we don't take education back from our schools, and thank you to all of you that are homeschooling your kids, you're saving America. I really feel that way. I really do.
Yeah, you got to get them out of that public school system. It's a train wreck. I mean, all the parents that I know that have teenagers in public school, man, they deal with some crazy stuff. Yeah. They deal with some crazy stuff. But hey, let's go back to the fraud, because I don't think we talk about that enough.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to talk about fraud real quick, and then I want to go into the lockdowns, because we don't even talk about that anymore either, and how that affected everything. Mm-hmm. But so you mentioned California earlier, when Nick Shirley went over there, you know, killed it in Minnesota, right? And then there you go. He goes to California and finds all that hardcore voter fraud, where they had like 6 or 7 people in one PO box at a UPS store,
or an empty lot, stuff like that. Yeah.
And that's happening nationwide. And the crazy thing is like nothing really happened to the people he called out. You didn't really see any Somalians, in cuffs too much. Maybe they're not talking about it, but they got rid of all ICE over there. Because I guess the polls came out that people really didn't want to see deportations all crazy. They didn't want to see it. They didn't want to deal with it. Because they did a good job framing it as something negative, right? The media, they actually won that battle. And then Nick goes to California, calls out the fraud, and then nothing's being done. There's so many things that as Americans we see we're not getting any accountability for. And then what I think is kind of cool, which is kind of a good strategy, what President Trump seems like he's doing right now with Mexico and Iran, is that he's getting the world behind him at this point. He's kind of maxed out America, like, okay, this is what my voting block is, how I'm going to use to win. Now he's going to get the whole world behind him. I mean, that's crazy.
This chess player, president of ours.
I mean, that's what's happening.
He's amazing.
I just talked to that Mexican farmer yesterday, all about Trump.
Talk about that, because that was so good. I went, how the reels come up, and just for information for the boomers, okay? So the reels pop up, but it only will give you like the very beginning. I'm thinking, oh man, but just go ahead and don't get frustrated. So like Zeke put one up, go to his site, go to his profile, Facebook page, and then you'll find the entire reel. Because I have to instruct my boomers because we get frustrated with technology.
You can tap on it too and say view reel, and it'll prompt you.
You know what? I tried that, and maybe I just couldn't see it on my phone because I had done that before. So
it gets weird.
But that's a good tip. But talk about that. That was really good.
Well, I was actually just hanging out. I have some business to do down in Sunland. One of my clients is down there, and Sunland's a really crazy. Too many dispensaries. It's crazy. It's just like I'm used to be in the cannabis game, but even for a guy like me, it's just too much. It's crazy. Anyway.
Let me interrupt you for 2 seconds because Sunland Park that he's talking about is right there close to Texas, El Paso. Okay.
Right on the border. Great point, Alice. So that's why there's like all the dispensaries that feed El Paso are in one little spot in Sunland, New Mexico. And there's the biggest dispensaries you could ever imagine. It's like going to Vegas. They're all like malls, If someone can have restaurants in them and stuff. But anyway, one of my clients is right next to that spot. It's a real hot spot. And so one of the patrons of my clients, I ran into him, and he was talking to me in Spanish at first right away, and I was like, hey, bro, you got to talk to me. My Spanish is too terrible. I'm not going to embarrass myself. And he's like, oh, that's no problem. I don't really get English. I was like, okay, cool. So we're talking, and he's just a really friendly guy. And, I was like, so what do you do, man? And he's like, well, I'm a farmer, blah, blah, blah. And so I was picking and prodding, and he didn't want to talk about politics. You can tell right away. He had that like Stockholm syndrome, where you're in a communist country, you're really not supposed to talk about. He literally had that body language. So I had to pull it out of him. I was like, hey man, so what's really going on over there? Politically, like in the cartels. Like I had to like spell it out for him. Like I want to know what's going on. And he's laid it on me pretty thick. He's like, it's bad, but I love Trump. I love President Trump. That's my best friend right now. All of us are rooting for President Trump. We really need his help because. He goes on and on about how they've been exploited. Like if you have a bunch of land and you have water rights that come with the land, here in America, you can't just sell your land and just the land. You own the water rights that comes with that land too, right? They don't have that option over there. The government will just take your stuff if they want to. And they can't export, just big problems that you never hear about. I've never heard about this till I talked about this guy, how bad it is to be a farmer. It's worse in Mexico than it is in America.
Yeah.
And the farmers here get shafted horribly. So I can't imagine what's like in Mexico for as jovial as this guy was, I was surprised that he was dealing with so much oppression, hardcore tyranny, really.
Man.
So he's like, no, I love Trump. And it blew my freaking mind. I've never thought a Mexican farmer would tell me that he liked President Trump. And then I just saw a rally in Iran today, huge rally in Iran. I mean, as far as the eye can see Iranian flags, they're dancing the YMCA to Trump song.
Big time.
And so there we go. It goes back to the point I was saying. He's winning the world over right now.
He is. And then did you see that reporter too? Where I think his network was telling him, oh, don't show that part because they were supporting Trump. And so they didn't, I can't remember. I don't want to say what network because I don't remember which one it was.
They don't want to show it.
But, kudos to the reporter because he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I mean, he was actually going to do his job as a journalist. And really, that's all we want. But, I'm so glad you talked to that pecan farmer because really, that's a lot of the origination. You and I and our Mexican roots. So it was my grandpa. Came up here because he had a little ranchito or something. I've told you the story, and he got tired of it, and they came.
That's right. He was dealing with the oppression even back then, huh?
So there were so many people that did that. I'm sure, and I've just got to find his naturalization card because it's so cool, and that's one of the reasons that I stay fighting too because our ancestors, our relatives, they went through hell, man, and that's the least we can do is try to stay in there and keep our country free, especially on this 250th anniversary. Come on.
Well, the communists and the Democrats have done such a good job. They did such a great job victimizing, populations and stuff. So it's like everybody's so conditioned to think, oh, pobrecito, Hispanic, Mexican, he's definitely a Democrat, definitely a progressive, he's definitely open borders. That's why that's why you started the show, basically, right? Because everybody assumes because we're like dark Mexican, Hispanic people that we're hardcore lefties, and it's like, no, I'm actually farther right than any other race probably in the state,
Well, on our little show history lesson in 2011 in Phoenix, Arizona, my buddies and I, we started Arizona Latino Republican Association.
Yeah.
And then we eventually got our Chips and Salsa show also. But the whole theme, like you said, it was because we were Latinos and we wanted to show people, because they would assume, if anybody would meet you, they'd think, oh, you're a Democrat. No, I'm not. I've been a Republican for a long, long time. And really, the culture, our Mexican culture, Latino culture, is very conservative. It always has been.
Yeah.
It really has been if you really study it. And I understand. I mean, my mom and dad, they were Democrats, but they were JFK Democrats. JFK were alive today, he would not be a Democrat.
You don't think so?
It's a party is just so different. It is so extreme.
It's not your same Democrat party. The party left you didn't leave. You didn't leave. No, you left the party. The party didn't leave you.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
And there are parts of it. I'm not saying all people who are Democrats are like that, but there was also a survey that, and I can't remember who was talking about it, but it is, and it's the far left. This just it's too much for people, and that's why I think, they're just becoming independents. Or come on over, contact us. We'll tell you all about the party.
Yeah, I think fair elections will help us out a lot because then we'll get some real wins under our belt. We'll have some real momentum. And what I learned in being in politics, it's all about the candidate. That's what got me in the game. It was Yvette Herrell is what got me in the game. Back when I was getting in politics in 2017, I was like searching, scouring for any Republican in Mexico that I can appealed to me, and she was the only one, and but massively, she was.
There weren't many either.
She was the only one that would nailed it. Everything. I love Yvette, but because of her and her momentum as a candidate, that's why I got involved. So really, the Republican Party on the local level, it's not necessarily about the Republican Party and who runs the party and the headquarters or whatever that. It's good. That's good. That's a good vein to have there. But the reality is that politics is downstream from culture. And the culture is built with the candidates, and then if they win, it's even more impactful and more powerful. But the problem here in New Mexico is that we get our stuff stolen, and so we get all this momentum. People get all excited and rah, and then it takes them 2 or 3 days to count the ballots, and then it's a really excruciating thing to go through. When you work your butt off, you see perceptually in the community your candidate was winning or you were winning. And it was so emphatic, but then you just come up short. Always by 60 votes, always by 120 votes.
And so many people, that sticks with them, and a lot of people, I'm not going to vote. Why should I vote?
Yeah, totally demoralizing.
And we can't. We have to show up. We have to make it too big to rig, and just show up. What was
too big to rig?
Our last election, the local election here, I don't think we even had 20% people show up.
Oh, no, it was 13, way more abysmal than that. Yeah, it was like 12%, 13%, something like that.
Come on, just if we had, and you saw so many races that were lost by maybe 100 votes or something, you think, if you could just get a neighborhood, really, if you think about it, if you just get a neighborhood to show up to vote, we could have maybe got some winners.
Nah, it's not so maybe with the machines,
Well, that's...
I still fight. I still tried. I didn't quit. I never quit. I'm still helping candidates. But I just, my faith in the machines is gone. I don't know if I can stomach another election with Dominion. I don't think I can do it.
Do you know, what are we going to be using here? Do you know?
Supposedly, the rumor is that we're going to have federal government oversight for voter ID, and we're going to do hand-counted ballots.
Wow. Do you think they're going to be able to pull that off? Since in New Mexico, you don't have to show ID when you vote.
Well, how hard is it? If you can count $100 cash, you can count ballots. It's not that hard.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah. I'm just saying, the powers that be that don't want that to happen.
Well, that's why Heinrich and whoever else is coming out, from Timbuktu to rally against the federal government from doing this kind of voter stuff, and they don't have a choice at this point. They have to speak out against it because they know as well as anyone else how much they have to cheat to win, and it's probably a significant amount of cheating that they have to invest in to get over the hill with these people.
My.
So I believe with as much, because the thing is what people don't understand is when President Trump goes to war, when we go to war and we actually win. Or do good perceptually, the poll numbers go through the roof for President Trump. And so they know that. So that's why he's doing this in Mexico, he's doing it in Venezuela, he's doing this in Iran, because every little victory he gets militarily, he gets through the roof on the polls.
They're doing, everything's coming out so well. I mean, all the support that's out there. I mean, he has people that don't support this, of course.
So that being said, with all that, militaristic momentum I'm telling you about, he's gonna be able to enforce these elections, guys. I don't see him not doing it at this point. Because then, if President Trump doesn't make these elections fair this year around, everything it just completely, voids everything that he's ever said and was ever about. Undermines his whole persona. He has to do it this year.
And who are the players that are behind him on that? Is there a certain
Tulsi Gabbard, Pete
senator,
Hegseth.
and they're pushing it?
Tulsi Gabbard is the main one that's in charge of it.
And she's kind of a badass. I mean, I like Tulsi a lot.
Between her and RFK, I don't know who's more of a badass at this point. I don't. I love them both.
They're both doing very well.
Yeah.
It's really too. Our Secretary of War isn't doing too bad either.
Yeah, Pete Hegseth, he gets a lot of flack, but I mean, he's taking damn good care of our troops, and I absolutely love seeing that. So you're not going to get me off Pete Hegseth anytime soon, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and of course our hearts and prayers go out to. We've lost a few people already, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I do have friends that have children over there, kids that are over there right now, just joined enlisted military. They're getting deployed to Iran right now.
And please pray for them. I was at the post office the other day, and I happened to run into a gentleman, and we started talking about all this. He was Air Force, like you, and his son also, and looked like his son was probably going to get deployed, but he was all about it. He was a big supporter, and just start. I always say that we always talk about this, but talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends. This gentleman and I, we just happened. It was a long line, so we had time to talk, and it was great. I only wish though, because I think he lives in Isabella's district. I only wish I had like a card. So I was telling him about Isabella too. Isabella Solis is running in District 37, my district, for state representative. Speaking of which, tonight, and this is being recorded on Tuesday, so we probably won't see this until Wednesday, but La Posta is going to have quite a few candidates out there, and we're going to go hang out and get to meet them.
Yeah, I don't know who all I just knew Duke Rodriguez was going to be there. I didn't know there's going to be other candidates.
Yeah, she told me there's going to be some of the sheriff candidates as well.
Oh, cool.
Too are going to be there, which I don't know.
What an interesting night it's going to be then, because there's like 50 sheriff candidates this year.
It's going to be good, and get to see them. And we'll try to keep you posted when they have events like this. That way you can put them on your calendar and do that, because the more you're involved, and then a lot of times too, I don't think they're going to live stream this, but sometimes they do live stream the events. So if you can't make it out of the house, at least you can watch them later or something like that. But I'm going to go, and you're going to go.
I'm going.
It's going to be
I already ate before, so I don't have to worry about
before? So now you have enough food?
I have a strict diet. I have to eat just meat.
I don't want to forget to mention this, because the last time we did the show, we were asking you about...
We'll bring it up every time. Every chance we get, we'll bring up Cano.
Judge Joel Cano.
Yeah.
And as you know, Zeke was the one that broke the story months ago.
Year ago.
And it was a year ago already? We went, wow, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. And then we kind of got a little bit of flack from some of our listeners. But lo and behold, it became a national story.
You still get flack too on it, right?
Well, not exactly, but questions. Okay. And then we thought the trial was supposed to be in December. And the last show we did, I thought, I didn't hear what happened with the trial. We didn't hear. So I dug and dug and dug. And it took me a while, believe it or not, to Google it. But what they did is they have a change in counsel. So that's what they're saying. And that pushed the trial to spring. So we're already in March.
They keep pushing it back. And that's a
just
good tactic. If you can push it back, brother.
Yeah, so it's like April.
I'm all about fair trials, man.
And you know what?
You ain't guilty till you're proven guilty, man.
I'm looking at this date, and here they're being arrested April 24th, so that's already going on a year.
Yeah, well, they hit me up to break the story in March, late February, March. And it took about a month. Once I got it out there, Borderhawk News got it, and then it got on Elon Musk's desk about a month after I posted it. Exactly a month from when I posted it, it got to Elon Musk's desk. And then it got 45 million views or something like that.
Dang. And we should, for the benefit, if this is the first time you've listened to us or you're not familiar with the story, give them a quick synopsis. You do the best job.
Yeah, so basically, I happen to know some law enforcement officials here that were stationed here in New Mexico specifically to deal with corruption. And one of them had stumbled across Judge Cano and him doing a lot of crazy stuff with Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang members. And so they got orders from Pam Bondi that they can't really initiate the warrant or do the raid until it goes public. And ironically, at that time, I had already been interviewed twice by the news that month, 2 different news stations, several times. And so I had the journalist correspondent's number. And so when they reached out to me like, hey, can you go public with it? And because they asked me to do it on my social media, which it's not that big. I mean, but they were desperate because they tried to put it out and the news wouldn't put it out. So they're like, okay, we can't do anything until it gets public. So, hey, Zeke, wink, wink, can you please, get this out to the public? And I was like, you know what? I'll do you an even better one. I'll do even more of a solid. I'm going to call the journalist myself personally and tell her about the story. And she'll definitely run it. No. I told her about it. I gave it to every news outlet I could, and nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody believed me. I didn't realize how crazy it was until I saw myself. I did a video about it, and I was like, okay, that's pretty crazy. I can see why people wouldn't believe me. But either who, it's all verified. I mean, I knew the main person initiated, it was real. So I got that information to my friend with Border Hawk News. They have a journalist correspondent here in Las Cruces. I happen to know the guy. Gave him the story. He gave it to the CEO of Border Hawk News. That guy knows Alex Jones and Elon Musk.
Wow.
So within a month of me getting it to Border Hawk News, Alex Jones and Elon Musk were throwing it out there. So
yeah, it went national.
it went. They were trying to bury it. If they would have buried it, he probably would have got off on it.
And I'll just read this from the story. So Joel Cano, 67, okay, he was charged with tampering with evidence and conspiracy after allegedly telling officers he had destroyed a mobile phone of interest to the investigation. The couple pleaded not guilty to the charges, and they were released from custody ahead of a jury trial. So we're going to kind of keep our eyes on this. So it should be coming up soon. We're hitting spring here very, very soon.
There's really dark stuff behind that too. They apparently, allegedly, they went through one of the other phones that they were able to obtain, and there was like, dismembered bodies and hands cut off and heads cut off and stuff like that. So, these Mexican and Venezuelan, South American drug cartels they're very much into black magic, very much into Satanism. I think the majority of drug cartels, I think 90% plus, are all in the satanic worship of some kind now at this point. And so that's what they're affiliated with. This guy's a judge. He's a former law enforcement guy. He shouldn't have nowhere near. And he was at a gun range training them on military tactics with military grade weapons. I mean, what are you doing, brother? We know what you're doing.
It's just not good.
Fair trial.
Yeah.
Fullest extent of the law. And that's borderline treason, IMO, borderline treason. So let the cards fall where they may.
We'll see what happens. Yeah,
That's
innocent until proven guilty.
That's right.
That's our system.
Yeah.
And then we started talking a little bit about how the ICE facilities, they're going to close them out here in New Mexico.
Stupid. So stupid.
What is it, 1,000 jobs?
Ridiculous.
From the facility alone up by Alamogordo. 1,000 jobs. We need jobs
That's
here
crazy.
in New Mexico.
That's so many jobs.
What the hell, dude?
And they just were so shameless about that too. I don't know. It's like that really pisses me off. I'm very pro law enforcement. I'm very pro ICE. Especially in New Mexico. Well, again, it just tells me how much they really depend on that voting bloc and how much they're willing to do to protect them. I mean, these are violent people for the most part. The most people that they're deporting stuff right now have horrible criminal records, rapists, murderers, child molesters. And here the Democrats are shamelessly protecting them, making it as hard as America can to deport them. It's a crazy time to be alive. That's all I got to say.
And it's all by party, right? I mean, I don't know any Republicans that vote that way.
Is there one Republican that's like anti-ICE? I don't think so. That's pretty much like straightforward there.
So that's why, and we're getting back into gear here. So hopefully we'll be bringing you a podcast every week. And our plan is to bring candidates on like we did before, because this is an election year. When is our primary here? In June?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, okay, so we've got some time. And if you have any ideas, as always, for us, contact us through Facebook, or a lot of you have my cell phone already. Text us, and we're happy to do that.
But yeah, so here's the thing: is it's an honor to do this. It's fun to do this. It's actually much more difficult than people would assume, but it's definitely a duty to our community. And I'm here. I'm happy to expose criminals. I'm happy to throw people under the bus that deserve it. I don't care. It's not like we're getting paid to this anyway, so we're not beholden to anybody. We can say whatever we want and do whatever we want here. It's our show.
If you'd like to sponsor our show, we'd love to. We'd love
Sponsor
to do
it.
that. Kind of help pay for things, because
All day.
we've been funding it ourselves since I came back and started. And I'll give a shout out to my good friend, Vicky Sleever. She's the one that first approached me. Because Alice, because she was following me in Arizona, she goes, "You need to start up a chips and salsa here in New Mexico." And when you move here, you have all kinds of stuff to do. And then shortly after that, I met Zeke. And that's when I decided, man, that'd be great. A millennial, knows everything about New Mexico politics. So we've been, doing it. And I appreciate her bringing that up. And I appreciate you sticking with it too.
Yeah, it's all been very spiritually driven. It's like before you know it, things just start falling into place. And there's really no really other explanation other than God, because there's so many reasons for us not to do this. but things just keep happening in the grace of God. And it's like, you just get signs, so we're going to keep doing this. Want to get to the point where we can start interviewing candidates here in the near future. Because I want to sit down and talk with them for a while. You can tell a lot by somebody. And really, what the thing about the Joe Rogan podcast and the RFK one that just happened this past weekend, brilliant point was that people just aren't talking anymore. And I couldn't agree with that anymore. What podcasting has done for the world is shown people how to just sit back and have a conversation again. Yes, I am far right. I am a MAGA Republican. I'm a U.S. veteran. I'm a father, business owner, all that stuff. But I like talking to other people on the other side. I don't mind. I don't get angry. I don't get upset. I don't try to bully them. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. And one thing I learned too later in life is that you're not gonna change anyone's psychology, man. People are where they're at. So the best you can do is just kind of go back and forth on ideas, question certain things. But civility and conversation is really powerful. And I really want to use this platform to get us there where we can start. But the funny thing is, when we first started the show, we were always inviting them on. Like the Democrats just won't come talk to us. They won't do it. We want them to. We're not going to bite, but that's what we want to do. We want to talk and have a conversation.
It's an open invitation. I come from the old talk radio world where when Rush was still alive and everything. And it was KFYI in Phoenix, Arizona, still a station, still one of my favorite stations. James T. Harris, my good buddy, is there. And they would do that from time to time. And Bob Mohan, he's not alive anymore, or John Dale, there were two of the big talk show hosts. And they would do just exactly what you said. You invite the other side to come out and you talk issues. And nobody was ever nasty to each other. It was good conversation. And we've lost that. You're right, the art of that. And you're right, podcasters have to bring it back. And you're not always going to change your mind. That's true.
No.
But you can present information. The
power of questions is there. It's a Socratic method. Study any bit of philosophy. Socrates, when he was teaching his kids, they call it the Socratic method because the main thing he would do is ask questions. You can get so far with the human psyche by just simply posing a question. And if you think about it, that's what Charlie Kirk would do.
Exactly.
That's what a lot of guys do now. Andrew Wilson's a big guy that's into that too. The Socratic method is, the thing is Socrates would publicly scrutinize people. He would ask them questions, but he would kind of publicly humiliate you as he was questioning you.
He asked really good questions.
Yeah. So again, Charlie Kirk,
like Charlie Kirk does. Just, okay, fine, you're saying this, but he's always, they would say, you're a racist, or you do this. Okay, well, when have I done that? Give me one example. And they 99% of the time, they could not give him one example.
No.
At all.
But that really pisses people off. And it was his destiny to get killed, really. I mean, they killed Socrates for the same thing. You know what they killed Socrates for? Corrupting the youth. Because he would go to the town square and he would challenge people's ideas, particularly younger people. And they made him drink hemlock and he made him kill himself. But he was very philosophical about it. He, wrote Phaedrus, basically was, a little symposium allegory that you just explained, the beauty of life and how important it is to stand up for truth and to question people. This stuff was 300 BC, and there's the most eloquent language you've ever read in your life. But it's just, I'd like to talk about that publicly because it's so fascinating that even then he was warning us about the mob and how truth is just going to make you a huge target. And here we are in 2025 when it happened to Charlie Kirk. He was basically reincarnated Socrates, if you think in a weird, indirect way. Nobody ever talks about that, but this is all fact. And so I have no problem speaking truth in the public square, but you do get attacked a little bit. I get hammered. I got hammered a lot for that Mexican post I did yesterday. I mean, these people were being super racist to me. Like, it's funny coming from a Maya face. They're calling me Maya face. Yeah.
A Maya face.
I don't even know what that is, but it got a lot of likes. It was on Threads.
That's a badge of honor to my heritage, you should have said.
Whatever. Well, my Threads page is blowing up right now. You guys follow me on Threads at NMZeke. It's I get like 10,000 views regularly on that thing.
I've seen Threads. I don't even know what that is. We need like a show just about social media.
I didn't know what it was either.
Educate us boomers especially.
It's another platform, like it's a branch off of Instagram. So it's all meta, but it's different than Instagram and Facebook in that it's a lot more basic. There's not really that many videos or there's videos, but it's just not very busy. It's very like typed text and very simplistic.
Interesting.
It's just more straightforward. It's kind of like how Twitter used to be, but it's blowing up. I don't know why, but Threads loves me. I get so much attention over there. So if you guys want to follow me on Threads, I'll start doing more content over there and doing more content specific stuff.
How do you find time for others? Is there one way, like maybe you do your reel and then you can go, okay, boom, this goes to Threads, this goes here, this goes
that's what happened. They made me open a Threads account. Instagram did. I was like, okay, whatever.
Wow.
And then so I started uploading my stuff to Instagram, and it automatically goes to my Facebook, but it also instantly goes to my Threads as well. So I'm just posting like normal, and all of a sudden my Threads is on fire right now. Randomly out of nowhere. I'd have never paid attention to it, but they gave me a lot of attention for whatever reason. And it's kind of hilarious because there's a lot of vicious liberals on Threads. So the MAGA Republicans are even more hardcore. So now Threads is just a big battle versus the furthest left and the furthest right. It's pretty cool actually. The best of both extremes are right in front of your face at Threads. I'll say that.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
Wow. No, I keep getting invited. I'm thinking, oh, I can't even keep up with what I have now. I don't want to.
You're gonna get pissed. You're gonna get pissed.
Yeah.
It's
even more so than
yeah. It feeds you some of the furthest left stuff you'll ever see. I mean, these people are out of control. But then right behind it, you'll see some hardcore MAGA people. You know, a lot of black people are on there pumping Trump. You know, it's like pretty crazy platform. I never thought I'd be talking about it, but it's really gotten wild. Like the video I did yesterday on Facebook got good traction. On Threads, a whole other stratosphere, way more traction.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyway, enough about me.
But
Social
that's
media.
good. I want people to follow you because you do a lot of content, and you have a lot of engagement.
I do.
On there too. So that's good. And I think you
Must
have
be the Maya face.
It's a Maya face. I can start going Maya face. Yeah.
I was like, wow. Okay.
I've never heard that.
Neither
before.
have I, but people like.
I wonder why they chose Maya and not Aztec, right?
Right.
The Maya.
That's a good point.
How did they know? Do you know any? What your roots are? I wonder.
I don't know.
We probably are all connected.
My dad's Tarahumara tribe, so we're a little further north than the Mayans. But so maybe that's what they're thinking about. But it was funny because a lot of people liked it. It was a derogatory, it was a pejorative. Always, trying to say bad things about me. A lot of people liked it. I mean, of course, my post is already over like 1,000 likes and 10,000 views. So one negative comment doesn't bother me, but that one negative comment got some traction. It was super racist. So, and the polls are there too. People are very racist by nature. You start talking about racism and Nazis and black versus white, you get a lot of traction on social media automatically.
Oh, it's like a little
people just love
keyword.
racist stuff. Subconsciously, we're tribalistic in a way.
It makes them do that. Yeah.
So let's get racist, Els. Come on.
Let's get racist.
You don't want to go there, do you?
Well, I don't know what should be racist about.
I can go sexist.
Sexist.
I can talk about females making sandwiches.
Yeah.
I can talk about that.
Yeah.
That gets numbers too.
But I mean, hey, I'm a boomer, so if I had a flat tire, I wouldn't. If some guy stopped to change my tire, I'm gonna let him because I could probably do it because my dad made us learn all that. But it would take me so long, and I'm not as strong as the guy is. So if the guy wants to help me, that's cool. I'm good.
Now,
with that.
see, that's why she's so far right extremist. She just admitted that men are stronger than women. That should put you
Physically,
in the gulag.
yes,
That's
you
an
are.
instant trip to the gulag right there, madam.
Unless you're just like one of these monster women or something that might be stronger than some guys that aren't quite as strong.
Oh, that's not hard these days. Talk about Operation Artichoke. The testosterone of a 16-year-old boy, a 15-year-old boy is the same as a 60-year-old man now these days. So they've done an excellent job emasculating men. I mean, so yeah, that's
terrible.
how frail and low energy our youth is these days.
It does explain things, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It really does explain
Certainly
things
does.
because guys used to be a little tougher and
A little.
some of it's not their fault because there's a lot of pressure from society. Don't be this way, don't say that. And I'm like, no, I grew up and my dad had plenty of testosterone. He had and
your dad was World War II vet,
World War
right?
II vet.
Those guys
Absolutely.
were totally different breed. They grew up in the harshest
Greatest
times.
generation.
Yeah, they went through the hardest times ever. I mean, they never really had any kind of an economy. His generation never really experienced an economic boom ever. They just kind of just kept working and drudging away their whole career.
I'll tell you, I think this is just a hilarious story that he didn't really talk a lot about being in the service, which most guys like that, they don't talk about a
I
lot
like
of their
guys like that.
experiences.
Stoicism.
But, he was a little boy around here in the ranchos and everything, grew up around Mesilla. And when he was a kid, used to do irrigation, all that. Came from there. And he said, so when he joined the Army, I'm sure they drafted him, and it said a lot of these guys were complaining because, it was hard. Their basic training was very hard and tough. And he's like, it was great, man. I got to go to bed early. I got 3 meals. I mean, it wasn't that hard for him because he was used to a very, very tough life.
Tough life. They give him, a hot and a cot.
And working on the farm, working on the ranchos, that was hard.
I bet it was fun for him, huh?
They were like, it felt like he was saying they're like little crybabies in a way because, it wasn't their fault. That's what they were used to. But I thought that's always is an interesting story that sticks with me.
That makes perfect sense to me, though. You know,
Oh, those guys.
that disciplined lifestyle is something else. So that's what we got going on. You know, globally, geopolitically. What do you think? We got anything else for ourselves? You always got some cool stuff for us.
So let's see. Do we do anything local? Our good friend Juan Garcia. You know, we still have those city council meetings, and our city council. We still got to show up, guys. We got to put the pressure on there.
Fair elections is going to be a big deal. I really want fair elections.
Right, and we do have some county elections. Our county commissioners. We've got a couple of slots.
We do got a couple.
I think so too. So please pay attention to those two. Do we know if we still have some slots open for some of our districts? It doesn't take a whole lot of signatures. So if you're in a district, I don't know if 35 has found a candidate yet.
No, they're looking to open seat right now. Someone just called that. You know, she's a Republican, a hardcore Republican. I was the one that converted her, and the Democrat leader, someone very close to a congressional candidate, had reached out to her and asked her to run for the Democrat side of D35.
Oh, really?
And it couldn't be any more hilarious because I mean, I know this girl. She's got a MAGA hat.
Is she
chilling.
considering?
No, not at all. I mean, it's tells you how disconnected the Democrat Party is, how desperate they are. Because this individual was not poised to run for office, no business running for state representative, not even a Democrat at all. And so, you know, but yeah, it's an open seat. So basically, if someone with a pulse jumps in there, you might win. You know,
Could and the signatures, they're all electronic. So all you do, you file, and you could go on there, and as long as you're a registered voter of that party in that district, you live in that district or register that way, then you sign. It doesn't even take a minute.
But you had to have been registered from January. I forgot what the word is, but it's January 26th, I think. If you're you're living in that district and registered that party before January 26th of this year.
So this year, basically,
Yeah, so-
you really should. If you're not,
So it's a little late for you if you haven't written about it.
but talk to your neighbors and find out. You know, a lot of people still, it's a little discouraging. A lot of people don't know who their state rep is. You can find it if you have your voter registration card, or you can go on the Secretary of State's website and look up your registration. It'll tell you where you are. And New Mexico is kind of funky and different. In Arizona, you had one district, and you had one state senator and 2 state representatives from there, I believe. Here, it's a little different. So you have to look it up and see where you are. But talk to your neighbors, because you never know. There might be somebody who's willing to put their name on there, and it would be great. We need more conservatives. We need more Republicans. We need more engaged people. I want to give a shout out to the Coalition of Conservatives in Action. They meet. I think they're going to have a meeting this week and next week. They'll be meeting at 6 p.m. It's mostly conservatives that go there. However, you know, if you're a Democrat, you're welcome to come join. We have excellent speakers. And it's at Kitchen Craft, which is real close to, it's right there next to the Rudy's Barbecue on Telshore. And they meet 6 p.m. on Thursdays. Contact me if you need more information. And then I don't know if the Republican Party is going to meet soon. Do you know any more?
No clue.
Okay. And then I'll use this opportunity also to give a shout out to my own DACFRW. That's the Doña Ana County Federation of Republican Women. Shout out to Debbie Schultz. She does great.
And Denise is the new chair, right?
She's the new president.
Denise is awesome.
Yeah, she does a great job.
She's
it's
great.
A good club. We meet like usually the last Friday of the month, and that's over at the Lutheran Church on Del Rey, close to 70. Really, we had a fantastic turnout. You didn't go to the last one.
Nah, I got to get going. I haven't been to a meeting in a minute. I got to go.
Yeah, I hadn't either for a while, but man, we had a full house there.
You guys always have full houses.
A great speaker,
Girls, you
Lawrence
women,
Bivak.
ladies.
Yeah. And the candidates will be coming there too. So just, you know, if you need any more information, we're going to be trying to keep those up and go to the Facebook site. If you would to, please like our Facebook page. We're climbing, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel too. You do such a great job uploading it.
I can't say girl anymore. I was having a conversation with a liberal not too long ago.
Gal,
And
can you say gal?
Girl, I think gal might be okay, but girl, because of Epstein, saying the word girl could be offensive.
Wow.
To victims or anyone else that might be a victim or something like that. So now I'm going to lady. So you ladies do a great job over there at FRW.
Ladies.
And same thing with CCIA, fantastic organization. I think most people find their way there around here.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to get involved in politics, you end up finding your way to CCIA and Juan and his awesomeness. There's so many ways to get involved. At the end of the day, fair elections is everything, but you know, God hates cowards. Straight up, it says in the Bible. You know, you neither hot nor cold. If you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out. You got to pick a side, and you got to fight for God. You got to fight for this land. So you can't just be sitting around doing nothing.
He wants us to fight for justice. If you're not doing anything, that's like helping.
It's way more exciting than watching
evil.
the foosball. I'll tell you that.
And wow, and then you get addicted. I mean, there's so much out there. There's so much to be done. And then one quickie too is please pray for the children waiting to be born. All right.
She's a big pro-lifer, and I agree with all that.
40 days is going on now. We still need prayer warriors. And our state of New Mexico, no limits here on those things.
I'm waiting for people to make the connection between, you know, Zoa Ranch and the Satanic Temple sponsoring these types of things.
What's the latest on that? Are they doing?
You know, it's really cockamamie. I got to look into it some more, but I know that there was a real shady Christian organization that bought it, and they've recently started to do a bunch of like construction alterations to the building, but they weren't permitted, so the state had to go in there and cease their construction operations on Zoa Ranch because they were doing things unpermitted. And apparently there's a lot of wild stuff going on with Zoa Ranch right now. I'll do some more research and find out what's going on, but that's the last I heard.
And that's up north? Is that by Albuquerque?
It's up there, it's closer to Santa Fe.
Oh, okay.
So I do know that the emails are showing that it was Deb Haaland and Gary King's son, I think, were really close to have, for the most part, you know, they did a lot of business with him. Sam Bregman was the chair of the Democrat Party in Epstein's heyday. So basically, the core of the Democrat leadership here in New Mexico had pretty close, I mean, you can say really close ties because ain't none of us hanging out with that guy. He's interested in, you know, working with politicians in New Mexico for we know why.
That have actual influence.
Yeah, you got to protect his palace of satanic worship, I guess you could say. Wow. But so the Democrat, this is the leaders of our state. You know, these are the people that run our state that make us the worst state in the country. They're hanging out with arguably one of the worst humans on earth. I mean, Epstein, what everyone's going to see is that he was actually engaging in all this stuff himself. He was the one doing a lot of all this stuff with them, and prolifically. So here's this guy walking around doing these unspeakable things to children and to human beings, and he's over here dictating our policy in New Mexico. It's a wild time to be alive. And we just had a Mexican say he likes Trump. Crazy.
That's right.
It's crazy. But I think we're wrapping up here. We got 5 minutes left.
Let's
call it a day.
Do our prayer, and we need to get out of here and get smoking to La Posta.
Yeah, we got to fly over there, don't we?
Right on.
Okay, so Lord, thank you so much for bringing us here today again and giving us the ability to communicate with the community, Lord, and for just being alive, Lord. So grateful to be alive in this glorious time to be alive, and the opportunity to fight for you, Lord, is just beyond words, and we're just so grateful for your love. And we just pray that you stay with us, and we pray for the unborn children, and we pray for our community, and I pray that everybody can come together, Lord, that we can find some kind of common ground, and we can use that common ground to come together for you, Lord, and for our community. Thank you again. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. Nicely done as always, Zeke.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chipsters.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next week.
Laters. So I was trying to piss people off.
I'm sure I'm going to need to call some of my friends. But that's good. You know, if you don't get that, you don't get reaction, that means you're not doing your job.
I'll edit your name out. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, it's nothing personal.